In this video, we will crown the best African player in the Premier League.
It should be Kudus. I think it should be.
Why isn't it going to be Turkish?
Because, I mean, Dave's come with the stats.
Unless I'm mistaken, Diallo's best position in
your opinion,
not talking about.
But that's in your.
He is a
I can
wide
only give
forward.
my
He is a
opinion
wide
though.
forward.
But then, so I think his best position is right wing back.
I know this isn't necessarily in the spirit of the conversation, but I would have Salah over all of like. Are you choosing Salah or Mbeumo?
What's happening, everyone, and welcome to WHFC, brought to you by Final One Standing, football's ultimate free-to-play eliminator game, where this week there's a share of up to 100 grand up for grabs. On this episode, we're playing a game of Final One Standing to work out the best African player playing in the Premier League. Right, lads, let's get straight to this. Amad Diallo or Mohammed Kudus? Who is a better player out of those two? Flav, Kudus arrived. He arrived to a lot of fanfare. It felt like you'd got a great player. You got one over on West Ham. It was a gift that kept giving. He had a great start to his Tottenham career against Paris Saint-Germain.
Yes, he was very effective in that game.
Yeah.
I think we've got a steal there for £50 million, given the current prices that players are going for. And again, he's been one of the few positives in this season under Frank's system, which really relies on Kudus to do everything. We're playing a lot of football where we're sort of moving it out to a fullback. We'll drive it down the line, and Kudus is the one that can hold it up. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but is it the most successful take-ons in the Premier League?
It is correct.
Thank you very much. And so so he's so good. He scored a great goal against Fulham this season. It really, I think we've got a really good special player. It's struggling in a system that really isn't helping anybody at the moment.
Yeah, and what about Amad Diallo? I mean, I rate him incredibly highly, but it does feel like you're not getting the most out of him in this Amorim system.
But he's played in two positions, right? He's played as a wing back and not really good. He's played as an attacking midfielder and not really good. So, still quite a young player, but I think miles above Mohammed Kudus in terms of where he is and what he's done for United. In the last season, he was directly involved in 14 goals. Kudus, since the start of last season to this day today, same amount of goal involvements as Amad Diallo. So there's difference to it. And I think if you look at importance within the side, it's probably United's maybe even second most important player behind Bryan Mbeumo, just because when he doesn't play, United look so flat. Similar to Kudus in that respect, right? Because they're both great ball carriers. They both make things happen in the final third. But I would just put Amad Diallo above Kudus.
I think how opposition teams react to Kudus would suggest how good a player he is. Every team we play against are always doubling up, tripling up against Arsenal because they worked out that the only out we had in that game was Kudus, and partly because we're playing this sort of system which doesn't allow us to get forward at all. It means the over-reliance on Kudus makes it easy to exploit for other teams. But they know that if they shut Kudus down, they shut Tottenham down. And I just think that's a respect and understanding of the quality of the player when opposition managers put so much work into stopping.
I know, Dave, I know you're a big fan of Ruben Amorim. I know you believe that it will ultimately work. But is it fair to say that last year, two of your best players, Bruno Fernandes and Amad Diallo, perhaps haven't kicked on the way you would have hoped this year? Like, I thought Diallo, off the back of scoring the goal in the derby.
Yeah, that's something that Mohammed Kudus hasn't done. He hasn't decided a game like that. Away at your biggest rivals. That goal was the touch, the movement.
I think he did it for West Ham against Tottenham, ironically.
But not for Tottenham.
But not for Tottenham, no.
And I think he bagged against Arsenal in that last season when West Ham won 3-0 at Arsenal. So he's had clutch moments as well, for sure. Plus the body of work for playing for Manchester United with the attentions different from having to. I know he came to West Ham with a good reputation from Ajax and an interesting trajectory because he went through some like an African development school, I think sort of Soccer Stars or something like that. And as a young man, sort of, and in the spirit of this conversation, how he's really kind of manoeuvred his way through his skill through the Eredivisie into the Premier League. And to go through West Ham and then Tottenham, I just think it's...
Similar to him, I went through Atalanta, similar interesting trajectory and has really stepped up at Man United. I just think if you have one of those two players in your team, every single day I'm picking him at Diallo because he's capable of something a little bit more special than
What do you think, Turkish?
This is a weird one because it should be Kudus. I think it should be.
Why isn't it going to be Turkish?
Because, I mean, Dave's come with the stats.
You came with the stats.
But that's his whole thing. It's just Statman Dave. I ain't got that. I've got Statman Flav, am I? If I was, I would have come with the
If
stats.
I'm talking about players, I think Kudus has got more about him in the front three. He can play across the front three. He's both-footed, and I love a player that's confident on both feet, and I think that goes a long way in deciding who's the better player. But Kudus has been underwhelming, in my opinion, for Tottenham, more so because of the system and the lack of options around him that, put all the emphasis on him. Diallo, I'm with Rory. Forget the derby, he had a hat-trick last season as well. It just felt like he's going to kick on now. I think Amorim moving him back to wing-back, albeit he done well there.
He did really well there last season in a similar role. So,
but I just don't think that's him.
It's the team's inconsistent, isn't it? Because the players are inconsistent, and that's the problem.
Mbeumo signing stifles him a bit in terms.
I think it makes them better. No, they've been very, very good. I'd say probably one of the best right-hand sides in the league.
If your two of your best 3, 4, 5 players, let's say, are essentially the same profile, I think one's going to suffer a bit more.
What's Amad Diallo's best position?
In this system, probably wing-back. If you've got Bryan Mbeumo, because you have to complement each other.
In the perfect
any system.
Recruitment in the summer, and you've got a left-footed right attacker that's played really well for Ruben Amorim, and then you buy another left-footed right attacker, doesn't massively make sense, but Amorim's profile works well for this wing-back position. If United had another Imad on the other side, they'd be a better team. Because they'd actually have threat down both flanks, whereas it's very, very right-sided this season. I think they complement each other now. The game against Arsenal, they got in each other's way. But as the season's developed, they've looked very, very good together, and they've built a really good understanding on the pitch.
Is this fair to say? Amad Diallo doesn't get into Manchester United's team in what would be his best position. He has to play out of position to accommodate a better player than him in his position.
But Mohammed Kudus has been massively inconsistent over the last 2 seasons. He's had games where he's looked electric. He's had games where he's been absolutely rubbish. Whereas Amad Diallo has had games at a higher level, but also consistency's been better.
Kudus was playing in a kind of dysfunctional West Ham side as well towards the end.
Yeah.
And has now walked into a dysfunctional Tottenham side and still in this conversation.
You sat your manager, weren't me?
I like Diallo, and I feel like Diallo's ceiling is higher, but he doesn't. I just don't think I don't think the club are making the most of his ability.
I think you could say the same for both. I think both players are not, they're not in a position to show their best selves.
I don't know the answer to this.
It should be.
He's having a meltdown, Flav.
I don't know the answer.
Look at him.
I'm going to lean. Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm going to lean towards Kudus.
I feel like I'm leaning
just
towards
because
Kudus
all round. I feel like Diallo has closed the gap and it is tight. But I just feel like Kudus is the better player, and that's what I'm going to go.
Amad Diallo is the better player out of the two by a mile.
But the trouble is, he's playing as a fullback.
Wing back, Rory.
Yeah.
It's a different position.
Okay, he's playing as a wing
Different
back.
position, more attacking.
He's not a wing back, he's not.
It's a winger in the system, right? You're holding the width, you're wide. It's similar to Chelsea's setup. If you look at how you build with the back three, your wingers are wide. They're the wingers that move into the position. It's the wing backs.
But Diallo, unless I'm mistaken, Diallo's best position in
your opinion,
not talking about.
But that's in your.
I can only give my opinion though.
But then, so I think his best position is right wing back. So we've got a difference of opinions there, right?
Full stop.
I think he's very good in this role.
But that's because you like Amorim.
And if United's system was better and the players are more consistent from a centre-back perspective, from a central midfield perspective in retaining possession, United would be more dominant, Ahmad would get more of the ball, the team would look more consistent and better.
But Diallo would be a better player if he were playing as one of the front three wide, right?
But that, again, it's all about... I don't think that's the case right now. No, I think he's better at wing-back. When he's 26, 27, 28, yeah, get him into attacking midfield.
Honestly, I think the best Diallo, I know what you're saying, but the best Diallo would have a...
Wouldn't be having
a Munoz, a Timber, a Reece James behind him in the right wing back
system, right?
position.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think a player of his quality, from what I've seen of Diallo, I feel like his best position isn't playing with defensive responsibilities as a wing back. I feel like his best position would be further up the pitch. He doesn't get in the team in that position.
That's fine. I think he's in his best position where he plays right now.
Okay, that's because you love the manager, though.
Yeah,
let's vote. I vote for Kudus.
I voted Kudus.
Ahmad Kudus.
Okay, it's Mohammed Kudus that goes through to face off against Ismaila Sarr.
Okay, so I put things aside because of Kudus' form last time, but Sarr, in my opinion, he hasn't just closed the gap. This season, he's been, you could argue the most exciting African player in the league.
Yeah, I especially his role in that sort of FA Cup run as well, and crucial to Palace. And Palace have lost players, right? And he's sort of stepped up. And again, coming from an underrated position, I guess there are people that really knew about him. I didn't, and he's forced his way into the conscience of every football fan. Just the amount of goals he scores, his influence on the pitch, pace at which he carries the ball up, I think he's class.
He's integral, isn't he, to what Palace do?
100%.
He's at the epicentre of what they do. When it works for Palace, you mentioned the FA Cup run. He's
probably Palace's. You see how you were saying earlier about top 3 players at your club? I think he is top 3 players at Palace. Most important, he's the one that carries the ball from one to the other. They lose him.
It's interesting you say that. Obviously, you got Adam Wharton, you've got Mateta, and you've got.
That's why I had to pause.
Got Mark.
No,
but still, that is a part of that is a fair conversation to have.
I'd say with Eza in the team, probably not top 3. Now probably top 3 in terms of importance. It changes, right?
Yeah, and I think what Glasner's done with Palace has been impeccable, and having lost players as well. Transfers in have been sort of underwhelming, but Sarr has been like the standout. Like Eze was class. We knew he was class before. What he's done with Mateta and Sarr has been outrageous. And
do you think he could be a credit to a bigger club than Palace? Ultimately, do you think he ends up somewhere big?
I think he's aligned with the quality of the manager right now. So if he has a manager as good as Glasner, regardless of the club he moves to, then he could have a great career.
I don't think he does move up. I think when you look at Palace and Elise moving and Eze moving, you could always tell that their level was probably one up. I think Sarr's probably around his level right now. No disrespect, because he is a player that could probably take a step or 2 up in terms of underneath the big 6, but I just don't think he has enough.
I feel like he kind of has to play with a team that's sort of counter-attacking and using.
He suits his game, 100%.
And the big 6 teams are all about control and containing, and that kind of
nullifies
a lot of.
We're not all about that.
I mean, you're trying
either. So Kudus versus Ismaila Sarr. Kudus is a better player, I think, than Sarr. I like Sarr. I think Sarr's having a better time of it.
I wouldn't give up
raw ability.
I wouldn't give up Kudus for Sarr, but I think he's class. And for Palace, the right club, right time.
Again, it should be Kudus, but this time it's actually Sarr for me.
I think it's Sarr. More goals and assists. Sarr.
Okay, so Ismaila Sarr progresses through. It's therefore Sarr versus Iliman Ndiaye.
Class player, absolutely class. He's like a bit of a throwback to the kind of forward we used to see in the Premier League. It's been for so often been about taking a ball, turning, passing into midfield, and there's just been no sort of
spark, creativity.
Like players that just want to take players on, and I love him. I think he's destined for. No disrespect to Everton. In fact, I don't care about disrespect to Everton. He's going to the top. I think
he reminds me of Pienaar a little bit, profile-wise.
He went Tottenham, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think there's more to him.
There is more to it.
His eye's better than Pienaar, I think. Certainly potentially.
Yeah, and I think Pienaar's more sort of a traditional midfielder, but as an attacking outlet, they've got a player there. He's mustard.
Yeah, such quick feet. I think he's a brilliant. But he's also the kind of player that I like attacking, creative, plays off the cuff a bit. Yeah, good player.
You would talk about in terms of like Everton's attacking outlets. Grealish comes with a reputation, but the efficacy comes from Ndiaye.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Dave?
Yeah, no, 100%. Third top scoring African player since the start of last season. I think what he's got in terms of his creativity, and you speak to Chris Wilder, you speak to people like Phil Jagielka, they talk about this guy on like another level. Obviously, he was at Sheffield United, then went to Marseille. Goal involvements through his ears there, then back to the Premier League, and he's done it for Everton for a season and a half now, and he's just got he's an exciting player. It's a little bit like Minte, where you give him the ball and he'll do something, he'll make something happen, and that's why I think we talk about him doing something for Arsenal, doing something for Chelsea. He will get a move somewhere big because he's that good.
Yeah, I agree.
He's so neat and tidy on the ball, and it's not safe. He's neat, tidy whilst taking risks, whilst dropping a shoulder, whilst doing a little, I don't know, Rabona or whatever you call him. Yeah, he's very much old school, like you said, and I love that.
He should be celebrated. That kind of player should be encouraged and celebrated.
100%.
And I feel like
protected.
And I feel like there's a shift in the Premier League back. I feel like it's moving a little bit more.
More Mavericks.
More to the mercurial players, the Mavericks, but also the era of the Premier League that was a little bit more chaotic, whereas the sort of Pep era was a lot more functional.
This season is already more chaotic.
Feels
than
great
that we've seen over the past couple of years.
There was a game previous this season between Chelsea and Arsenal, and you saw the sort of. It felt like a throwback to the old Premier League rivalry that you saw these two teams play out. It was beautiful, and Ndiaye is the kind of player that kind of embodies that. Yeah. Is that actually this is a kid who can can turn up and do something special and make you stand up and look at it and go, actually, the Premier League can be and is an exciting product.
Yeah, I agree. How highly do we all rate him then in the battle between Ismaila Sarr and Ndiaye? What are we going?
Ndiaye, I think.
Yeah.
I am as well.
Yeah. Clean.
Full house for Ndiaye, which means we are now on to Bryan Mbeumo versus Ndiaye.
Go on, Dave.
We celebrate the man. It's one of Thomas Frank's favourite players.
I mean, we could do with him, but that's in, you know, he was. I remember watching him for Brentford against Spurs maybe 4 years ago, something like that. And it might have been during lockdown. And I was looking at him, I was like, he loses the ball. Like even when he carries it, it's like there's no end product. And I've got a mate who goes home and away with Brentford, and he was talking about how frustrating Mbeumo was back then. The development, the work that Frank and Cochrane must have done with him to get him playing. You know, I said to, you know, not to make this about Spurs, but I spoke to this Brentford lad, and I was like, what's happening? Like, why is Frank, you know, struggling so much for Spurs? And he goes, because you don't have Visser, but more importantly, you don't have Mbeumo.
Yeah, and Mbeumo's the massive part of that attack, even more than you'd probably say influential than Tony. And I think he gives you so much in defence as well, and that's the best bit about him. He's so intense off the ball, runs in behind constantly, threatening to fit. He's a very, very complete player. And United obviously went out and bought him, and he's improved the side, you know, massively. Top scorer in the Premier League. And it gives you something else which has been lacking at Old Trafford for a long time. Someone that can spin in behind, someone that can score goals, that can create, that can do it. He's a fantastic footballer and a joy to watch, and he's a team player. There's nothing bad about him. I think his profile is complete. He's very, very quick.
It's so in keeping with United's tradition, isn't it, to have a player that can spin in behind like that.
Yeah.
And yet it's been such a long time. Like, think of the players, like, I suppose Marcus Rashford was trying to do that, but he hadn't done it effectively for a long time.
It's the consistency of it.
Yeah.
Like, last season was top for sprints in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's that thing that is constant, that as a defender, go tight to him because he can spin you, can run in behind you, can take you on 1v1, that it elevates a side. So for this, it's definitely Mbeumo by a country mile here. Only Salah's been directly involved in more goals as an African player in the Premier League since the start of last season. So I think this is a debate that's done and dusted.
Yeah, he's a finisher as well. I mean, I loved Mbeumo until he signed for United. But you know the years where Saka was being run ragged week in, week out. I always looked at Brentford and said, go get Mbeumo.
Yeah.
That's the guy to come in, you know, play ahead of him, you know, take him out of the limelight. Obviously, we came to a stage where, you know, Saka's did this summer, we didn't need an Mbeumo type. And he moved on to United. But as a profile, I think I agree with you. Even when Tony was getting all the plaudits, I was always looking at him as the integral piece of that Brentford puzzle.
Also, he's been doing it at Manchester United, and we've seen lots of players go into Manchester United and really struggle with the weight and expectation of the fans and the club. He's actually taken it in his stride, which deserves huge amounts of credit.
But then you think of his career, and now he's, you know, went to Brentford, played in France before, and Championship into the Premier League. As you mentioned, the improvement over the years, like, it's the perfect time for him to join Manchester United, and he's been the perfect player thus far. And I think probably should be used as a striker a bit more, especially this season, because he's got the quality to play that position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good at holding up the
heavily,
ball. Massively going to miss it. Same with, well, the issue is United's right hand side's gone to AFCON, and United are going to struggle.
Oh yeah.
Okay, this is huge then. There is a brand new £100,000 final one standing jackpot launching this weekend. You know the rules. Pick a team each week. If they win, you're through. If they don't, you are out. So, chaps, who are we going for? I'm going to get us underway. I'm playing it safe. Manchester City are obviously going to beat West Ham United. Flav, give us a tip. What are you going for?
I'm going to give you a tip. And that is Tottenham Hotspur are going to get a result against Liverpool.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
Bournemouth are going to beat Burnley. Areola versus Scott Parker. Easy for me. Yeah. That is a Bournemouth win.
I'm going to go Arsenal away against Everton.
There we have it. You have got until Saturday 3 p.m. to make your picks. And remember, you've got to be 18 plus, based in the UK or Ireland, and please gamble responsibly. Download the William Hill app to enter. And Mbeumo progresses, right? We all agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Which means that the final is Bryan Mbeumo versus Mohammed Salah.
He's there on merit more so than anything, Salah. And listen, he's done his thing across football, but this season he doesn't belong in probably the
list,
the final of this list.
Okay, it's interesting, right? Because obviously Mohammed Salah will have a better Premier League legacy than all of these players combined. Yeah. He is undoubtedly better than all of the players combined, but What are we basing this on?
Right now,
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
today, as of today, Mohamed Salah's been woeful in the Premier League this season, and Mbeumo's been massively important to Manchester United. So if you weigh it up, it's a 33-year-old and a 26-year-old.
Yeah.
I know this isn't necessarily in the spirit of the conversation, but I would have Salah over all of like. Are you choosing Salah or Mbeumo?
I don't know what the parameters of the debate are.
You know what the answers.
I'm inclined
what
to
the
say
answer is.
Salah because of who he is and what he represents.
What he can still deliver.
But in terms of the conversation being today,
Who is the best player at the AFCON? Or sorry, who is the best African player in the Premier League? It's still
Mbeumo.
It's not.
yeah, can Salah lose that? Because Salah had the accolade if we were having this conversation 6 months ago.
Absolutely.
Can he lose the accolade because of a poor
None.
15, 16 games?
Dave, as staunch as you are, and I respect it because you're a Man United fan,
And you love doing the same thing, so we're going to stick on the fence.
I'll do the same thing as well. But there ain't a world where Salah isn't picked by all of us.
But as of now, going into AFCON, Salah's not the best African player in the league at this moment in time.
But he was literally a few months ago.
Yeah.
Football changes quick, though, Rory.
Yeah,
we know that.
That's a question, I guess. How quick does it change? How quick?
I think we're saying right now, best player, we've got to be...
Does the crown slip from your head off the back of a poor 6 months?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
thing
The
is-
revolutions happen, Rory.
And then obviously you've got Mbeumo's sort of he's delivering with a sort of a very average manager.
Okay. I'm tricky. I don't know what to vote here, primarily because I don't.
Dude.
I'm inclined to vote Salah, but if it's we're debating the players of today, like literally the day of today.
It doesn't matter.
God, this is really tough. I'm gonna have to think about it. While I process this, is there anybody that I haven't mentioned on this list that you think should have been mentioned? Anybody stand out? So off the top of my head, should Omar Marmoush have been on this list on some level?
Probably not in the Premier League yet.
Not yet.
Potential, yeah, 100%. If he can play a similar position to Julian Alvarez, he'll score loads of goals, yes. But if Phil Foden is in that position, then no, not at all.
I think Marmoush, if you'd had the minutes, which is important, that you would.
You've just got to drop it.
There's the guy using last season to make the argument for Salah. But he didn't do that for Lewis Skelly, previous episode.
Yeah, go and watch the previous because Turkish was talking all kinds of nonsense. But yeah, no, look, Marmoush is, I think, behind Salah, the second,
what about
second best player on the list, but he just doesn't have enough minutes.
Anyone else that you'd want to mention?
Minte.
Yeah.
Belabor?
Belabor, potentially. Needs to turn the form around of this season. Been dropped by Brighton.
Yeah.
Still a very, very good footballer. You don't get, it's one of those things with him being young. A lot for him to grow versus Mohamed Salah, who's finished.
Okay, right, let's put this one to bed. Bryan Mbeumo versus Mohammed Salah. Let's vote.
I'm going Salah.
I think I'm just going Salah. I'm kind of ingrained to believe that it's Mohamed Salah. History has taught us that it's Mohamed Salah, and I'm not ready to dethrone him yet. Yeah. Turkish? You could have the deciding vote here because I'm pretty sure I know what Dave's going to do.
I'm going to go Mbeumo. Yeah, I'm going to go Mbeumo. I just think there's no way Salah is the best African player at this moment in time. And that's what we're judging it off, this moment in time.
He is.
Right now, Bryan Mbeumo is the best African player in the Premier League.
Which effectively means we're at stalemate. So we can't decide, so you may have to. Is it Mohamed Salah or is it Bryan Mbeumo? Who is the best African player in the Premier League and therefore this episode's final one standing? Let us know in the comments and remember to click the link in the description for your chance to win a share of the £100,000 jackpot in this week's final one standing. Thank you again for watching WHFC. If you want to watch us rank the best young players in the Premier League, click the video that's on screen now. And if you enjoyed the show, then please do click subscribe to the channel to never miss an episode. This show was brought to you by William Hill. 18+, please gamble responsibly.